Okay, great. So the agenda today, I will start by sharing the culture of saving face, which is very important to Chinese culture. And then teacher Zhao Yi here will talk about Pinyin to everyone, and we will learn some basic Chinese phrases. And after that, in the very end, we will have a QA session where you will be able to ask any questions you have, and we will try our best to answer. Okay, so the culture of saving face. How many people have heard of face culture? Please type in 1 if you have heard about face culture before. Okay, so here, before we understand what is face culture, we are tapping into the genre of intercultural communication. So what is intercultural communication? Before we tap into that, we have to understand what is culture and what is communication. So type out your definition of culture, or what you think represents culture. Let's take a look. Well, there's a lot of definitions for culture. So culture can be reflected by religion, by what you eat, by a tradition, by your belief. Culture is learned. So when the baby is born, the baby is new. So the baby is born in a world, the baby can see, oh, what my parents wear, what am I fed, what language am I learning, so culture is learned. And second of all, culture is shared. It is shared by a group of people. So if we use a socio-psychologist definition of culture, culture is the programming of mind that distinguishes a group of people from another group. So this is culture. What is communication? Is communication the same as sending a message? Yes and no. Communication's 2 features, symbolic, and it is a process. When I say symbolic, it means it requires some sort of symbol, some sort of word. It can be language, it can be a gesture, it can be a flag or a logo. So when we watch a movie and we see the castle with a star shooting, we know that it's a production of Disney, and you will be bankrupt if you violate some of the copyrights in there. And then when I say communication, it is a process. It means it is a dynamic process where the sender of a message encode a message and then send it to the receiver decode it, try to understand what is going on and give some sort of feedback. And in this process, in this dynamic process, people understand, okay, we are talking about the same thing, and I actually understand the meaning. So intercultural communication together, it means people from different cultural backgrounds try to talk with each other, send a message back and forth, and reach a common agreement. And now, when we talk about the face culture, there are 2 translations of the word face. The first face is this face, the one that CDC tells you not to touch. And another face can be translated into 面子. 面子 is one's perceived public image. What do you think your community think of you? That is 面子. So now let's share a story. Bacon Daily has 2 sons. The older son is Dino Daily. A younger son is Bob Daily. So one day, Bacon Daily is having a good time with his fellow villagers. He's bragging, my songs are awesome. My son can repeat the entire dictionary. They can remember the word in the dictionary in one day. Immediately, Dino Daily jumped out and said, no, Dad, that's impossible. Bob Daily didn't say anything. He just smiled and nodded. Who do you think is Bacon Daily's favorite son? It is Bob Daily, because by not discrediting his father in front of the fellow villagers, Bob Daily saved Bacon Daily's face. And yes, face is something, 面子 is something that you can save, it's something you can borrow, it's something you strive hard to gain, it's something that you protect. So is face culture the same as a white lie? Yes and no. Sometimes a white lie is required to save someone's face. A research conducted shows that kids as young as a 4-year-old understand that by telling a white lie, they are able to protect people's feelings. And another research done among Chinese students, kids around 11 years old have a real struggle understanding I need to be honest, but I also need to protect someone else's face. And what should I do? They're having a real difficulty. So the older kids get in China, especially in Chinese culture, same in Japan or Korea, where like all related to this face culture idea, kids understand that it is important to save face, to protect their face or other people's face. And this can be a double-edged sword. Why do I say that? A personal example. When I was young, I heard my mom telling others that Kathy works really hard and she's really good at math. No, I'm not. My math was bad. I was having a real difficult time figuring out what is going on in my math class. But because I heard my mom, I want to save my mom's face. I want to protect her face. I want to protect her public image. So I tried really hard and bring back a great report card. But there's another way I can do. I could copy someone else's like exam result, so I don't have to work hard while protecting my mom's face. So that's why I say it is a double-edged sword. It's a real push for people to do certain things to protect one's face or someone else's face. When it comes to your class, that can be used to explain a lot of things. Many times, if you are encountered with an older student or a newer student, the kid is hesitated to talk. Sometimes, when you are sure the kid's English is good enough to talk or speak in full sentences, the kid only said one word. Sometimes when you ask if you have any questions, the kid won't say anything because the kid wants to save his face and not to look like an quote unquote idiot in front of the teacher. And sometimes when the parents are around, the kid would be hesitated to say new things because they're worried about the losing face in front of the parents. So that explains a lot of struggles the teacher who come to China when they teach Chinese kids, they're like, why no one volunteers to answer questions in my class? That is face culture. The kids want to protect their public image among their peers or among their family members. So that's why they can be really quiet to avoid making mistakes. So that is how face culture comes into play in a teacher-student situation. And when it comes to like communicating with parents or writing feedbacks, always like sometimes it's not a bad idea to do what I call, or a lot of people refer to a comment sandwich, because by doing a comment sandwich, you can write something nice, something positive to give student face or give people face, make them feel good, and then say, hey, by improving this or that, you will be able to be awesome or be more awesome. So that is one take back that I do when I used to teach. So I offer a feedback sandwich to protect the people's face. And especially when I talked to my students' parents, I always make sure to save face, give some sort of positive comment to the student and to how hard the parent is helping the student, and then point out something that the student can work more on. And this is all I'm here to share about face culture. Thank you very much. And now let's give the stage to teacher Zhao Yi.
Thank you so much for having me. Today we're going to get familiar with Mandarin pronunciation. Before we get started, please allow me to introduce myself a little bit. I am a Lingo Bus Chinese teacher, and I'm currently living in Toronto, Canada. I graduated from University of Toronto with a Master of Teaching degree. After graduation, I joined the Lingo Bus, and I have been working for Lingo Bus for 2 years. I am the lucky one because my job is my hobby. Yes, I love teaching so much. Also, I love cooking Chinese food for my family members whenever I am free. That's about me. Now, I do have a question for you. Do you think Chinese pronunciation is very difficult? If you think so, you can type out number 1. If you think it might be okay, you can type out number 2. I see that some of you think Chinese pronunciation is very difficult. No worries at all. I'm going to tell you some good news. Actually, Chinese pronunciation is less difficult for native English speakers. Why? Because we share the same 26 Roman letters in our Pinyin system, which is the phonetic system of Chinese language. Also, most of the pronunciations are very similar. That means if you can speak English, you already knew how to sound out some of the sounds in Chinese. Isn't that great? Now let's have a look what we're going to learn today. First, we will get a glimpse of Chinese Pinyin, and then we'll be learning some basic words and phrases like 很棒, great, 听, listen, and 看, look. Lastly, we'll be learning some daily expressions like 我知道, I know, 我不知道, I don't know. Let's start with Pinyin. So what is Pinyin? Pinyin is the system used to represent the Chinese pronunciation. It is made of 26 Roman letters and 4 tones. In Chinese, we have 2 sets of symbols. One of them is Pinyin, the phonetic system. The other one is the Chinese characters, the written system. Let's look at an example here. As you can see on the screen, there are 2 Chinese characters, 你好. That means hello in Chinese. For each Chinese character, it has its own syllable. And for each syllable, it consists of initial and final. Initial is just like the consonant in English, while the final is just like the vowel in English. For the Chinese character 你, the initial is ne, while the final is i. So together, the whole syllable is 你. For the second character 好, the initial is he, the final is ao, together is 好. As you can see, there is a tone mark right above the final. The tone mark tells you which tone this syllable has, and in Chinese, tones play a very important role. Now we're going to figure out why it is so important. Let's talk about tones. First, I'd like to share a video with you, and let's see what will happen if you change tones in Chinese. You can look at the subtitles below. That will better help you to understand what is going on. Okay.
你好，你好，我是英国人。哦，你英国人。你很累吗？你要睡觉？累，要吃睡觉。你要吃水饺？哎呦，我们这边是卖水饺的呢。哦。
As you can see from the video, the young man, he wants to get some dumplings, 水饺. But he changed the tone of the word dumplings, 水饺. He said, I want 睡觉. That means sleep. So the man who sells the dumplings thought he was sleepy. Okay, so in Chinese, if you change the tone, there will be some miscommunication or misunderstanding going on. That means Chinese is a tonal language. Tones can change the meaning of the words. Now we're going to look at some more interesting examples and see how the tones work in Chinese. We have 4 groups of words here, and in each group, the syllables are the same. The only difference is the tone. We'll just talk about the first group, 水饺, dumplings, and 睡觉, sleep. If you're hungry and you tell your mom, Mom, I want 水饺, dumplings. If you change the tone and say, Mom, I want 睡觉, sleep, your mom will say good night and you will never get your dumplings. The second group is 爸爸, dad, and 爸爸, something smelly. For male teachers, if your children call you 爸爸 instead of 爸爸, that means you're something. Okay, so the next group we have 我问你, I ask you, and 我吻你, I kiss you. So if you're going to ask your friend a question, instead of saying 我问你, I ask you, say 我吻你, I kiss you, you will scare your friend away and you will just lose your friend. Okay, the last group we have 同窗, that means classmates, and 同床, that means 2 persons sleep together. If you're going to introduce your classmates to your parents and say, Mom, we're classmates, we're 同窗. If you change the tone and say, Mom, we're 同床, that means you two sleep together. I'm not sure what your parents will think about you. Okay, so from these examples, I just want to tell you the tones are very important in Chinese pronunciation. I know some of you might think that, oh no, I cannot hear any differences. No worries, I'm going to show you a graph and that will better help you understand what are tones in Chinese. Okay, so as you can see, this graph, it identifies your normal speaking voice range from number 1 to number 5. So number 1, that represents the lowest voice you use when you speak. While number 5 represents the highest voice you use when you speak. So the first tone in Chinese is ah. It's a high flat tone. Ah. Can you have a try? Ah. That's the first tone. The second tone is going up. It's like ah. Ah. It's your turn. Ah is going up. The third tone in Chinese goes down first and then rises up. It's ah, ah. Can you have a try? Ah. Great. The last one is the falling tone. It goes down. It's ah, ah. Have a try. Ah. Great. So in Chinese, we have 4 tones. If you still think Chinese tones are difficult, I want to ask you a question. Do you think we can find English equivalents for Chinese tones? If you agree, you can type out number 1. If you don't think so, you can type out number 2. Okay, so the right answer is yes, we can find English equivalents of Chinese tones. Imagine you go to visit a dentist and your dentist asks you to wide open your mouth and say, ah. So when I say ah, it's a high flat tone. That is the first tone in Chinese. Ah. And then your dentist says, you have 11 cavities. You will be like, what? What? You just cannot believe it. When I say what, your tone goes up. It's a rising tone. What? That is a second tone in Chinese. It's pretty easy, right? Okay, now your dentist asks you whether you want to get the cavities filled. And you were thinking and hesitating, so you say, well. So when I say well, it's a third tone in Chinese. It's going down and up. Well. Now, while you're thinking, your dentist says, it will cost you $10,000. You will be like, no, it's too expensive. No. When you are saying no, it's the fourth tone in Chinese is going down. It's pretty easy, right? Now let's have a practice. We're going to sound out 4 different tones of the syllable ma. So the first tone is ma. It's a high flat tone. Ma. Can you have a try? Ma. That means mom in Chinese. The second tone is ma. Ma. That means numbness. Can you have a try? Ma. It goes up. Great. The third tone is ma. Ma. That means horse. It's your turn. Ma. Great. So the last one is a falling tone. Ma. Ma. That means scold. Can you have a try? Ma. The ma is going down. The tone goes down. Okay, great. Now let's practice 4 tones together. Ma. 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 And ma. Great. Now let's do a quiz. Don't be nervous. So in a moment, I'm going to sound out one of the tones and you're going to tell me which tone do I use by typing out the numbers. For example, if I say ma, that's the first tone, you're going to type out number 1. Okay, listen carefully. Ma, ma. Which tone did I use? Yes, I used the second tone. It goes up. Ma. Okay, next one. Ma. Ma. Which tone did I use? Great. The third tone. It goes down and then up. Ma. Good job, guys. Give yourself a pat on the shoulder. Now let's talk about initials. In total, we have 21 initials. And you already knew how to sound out some of them, like bo, po, mo. And today we're going to look at some tricky ones. In this first group, we have zi, ci, and si. So for the first one, zi, it sounds like the S in the word kids. Zi. The tip of your tongue touches the back of your upper teeth. Zi. In this syllable, it's 走. 走, that means walk. Can you have a try? 走. Great. The second one is 呲. 呲. It sounds like TS in the word cats. 呲. The position of your tongue stays the same. You just let more air come out. 呲. And here we have 菜. 菜. The last one is 思. It sounds like letter S in the word sits. 思. And the syllable is 伞. 伞 means umbrella. Great. In this second group, we have 知, 吃, 诗, and 日. The first one is 知. It sounds like the letter GE in the word George. 知. And a red call in Chinese is 知, 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 知. Can you have a try? Great. When you pronounce 知, the tip of your tongue touches the roof of your mouth. 知. Great. The second one is 吃. 吃, you can feel more air come out. 吃. And eat in Chinese is 吃. 吃. Can you have a try? Great. Next one is 诗. This one is pretty easy. It sounds like the letter SH in the word sheep. 诗. And the 诗 in Chinese is line. Last one is 日. 日. So 日 sounds like letter S in the word measure. 日. If you say, I am too hot, you can say 热. 热. Now let's talk about finals. In total, we have 39 finals in Chinese. In this first group, we have 6 basic finals. They are a, o, e, u. As you can see, the shape of my mouth goes smaller from a to u. And the last one, u, is the most difficult one, but I have a tip for you. So we can start with e with this one. E, it sounds like letter E in English. We can start with E and you hold the position of your tongue. And then you just round up your lips like E. And then you can correctly pronounce this final E. Okay, have a try. Let's start with E and just round up your lips. E. Got it. Yay. Okay, so in the second group, we have 6 finals, but we're going to look at them in pairs. In this first pair, we have I. When you pronounce I, you wide open your mouth and you put your tongue at a lower position. I. And the love in Chinese is I. Can Can you have a try? I. Great. This one is I. As you can see, the shape of my mouth goes smaller and you lift your tongue a little bit. I. And tired in Chinese is 累. Lei. Can you have a try? Lei. Great. The second group we have ow. Again, you need to wide open your mouth to pronounce ow. And good in Chinese is 好. 好. It's your turn. 好. And this one is o. O. You need to round up your lips. O. And the building in Chinese is 楼. 楼. Great. In this last group, we have an. An. And the meal in Chinese is 饭. We just learned that eat is 吃. So have a meal is 吃饭. 吃饭. Can you have a try? 吃饭. Good job. This one is and great in Chinese is 棒. 棒. You're great. 棒. Now let's learn the classroom expressions. I'm 100% sure that you're super familiar with these pictures because you use TPR in your classroom tons of times every day. Now we're going to learn how to say these words in Chinese. The first one is listen. 听. 听. Have a try. 听. Great. The second one is speak. 说. 说. It's your turn. 说. Great. This one is look. 看. 看. Good job. Now we have write. 对. If your students write, you can say 对. 对. Have a try. 对. If your student is wrong, you can say 不对. 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 很棒. And great in Chinese is 很棒. 很棒. If your student did a great job, you can say 很棒. 很棒. You're great. 你很棒. Okay, now let's quickly review what we have learned. The first one is 很棒. Great. 很棒. The second one is 说. Speak. 说. This one is listen. 听. 听. Look is 看. 看. This one is 对. Right. 对. So wrong is 不对. Now I'm going to call out one of these words and you're going to tell me which one is right by typing out the numbers. For example, if I say 说, you're going to type out number 2 because that means speak. Okay, please listen carefully. 听. 听. Which one is right? Yes, it means listen. 听. Great. 对. 对. Which one is right? Number 5 is right. It means right. 对. Great. Now let's look at some daily expressions. Look, 看. The teacher, she's asking a question and the girl, she knows the answer. So she can say 我知道. I know. 我 means I. 知道 means know. So I know is 我知道. This girl, she doesn't know the answer. So she says 我 不知道，我不知道。I don't know. I means 我，不 means don't. 知道 is no. So I don't know is 我不知道。Do you know the answer? If you know the answer, you can say 我知道。If you don't know the answer, you can say 我不知道。Great. Now let's look at these two sentences. The first one is 我知道 I know. It's your turn. 我知道 The second one is 我不知道 I don't know. 我不知道 Can you have a try? 我不知道 Great job, guys! Now let's do a matching activity. So you're going to match the sentences on the right to the Chinese on the left. The first one is 我不知道. What does 我不知道 mean? The first one or the second one? You're going to type a number. Yes, 我不知道 means I don't know. 我不知道. How about I know? It's 我知道. 我知道. Now it's practice time. The teacher, she asks, do you know what can means? The man on the left, he knows the answer. So what's he gonna say? The man on the right, he doesn't know the answer. What does he say? You're going to answer these questions by using one of the following sentences. Great! So the man on the left, he says, 我知道 I know. The man on the right, he says, 我不知道 I don't know. Do you know the answer? If you know the answer, you can say. If you don't know the answer, you can say. Great! Give yourself a pat on the shoulder. Now let's wrap up today's lesson by looking at these two questions. You're going to use one of the following sentences to answer these two questions. You can say 我知道 I know or 我不知道 I don't know. Okay, the first question is, does anyone know how to say hello in Chinese? Do you know the answer? You can say. If you know the answer, you can say 我知道. If you don't know the answer, you can say 我不知道. Okay, so hello in Chinese is 你好. Now let's look at the second question. How to say you're great in Chinese? Do you know the answer? Great. So great is 很棒. You are great is 你很棒. 你很棒. Great, you are great. Now I have some tips of learning Chinese pronunciation for you. You can have a look. Okay, great. Now let's move on to the Q&A session. If you have any questions, I will help you with that. As you can see on your screen, here is a very useful chart to practice pinyin and tones after class. Let's look at the index column first. In the index column, you can see all the finals in pinyin system. If you click one of them, you can hear the sounds. Okay, now let's look at the index row. In the index row, we have all the initials in pinyin system. Again, if you click one of them, you can hear the sound and practice it. I hope this pinyin chart will help you, and I will send you the link after class. Great! So now it's time to say goodbye. 再见. I'm looking forward to meeting you next week. 再见.